So a couple of weeks ago, I posted this photo on a few fan bases and I got some amazing responses. Like I got really motivational ones, I got really excited ones, I've gotten very funny ones, like someone even told me to wear pants. Dude, I was literally wearing shorts. Then he still said I would still say wear pants. And then the funniest one was that I can't wait for, like, something along the lines of I can't wait for the live read along. And I just thought that was funny because now I am filming a reaction to it. What's up guys, this is Rita One, the Mediawood. Welcome back to the channel. It is Friday, it's 9 a.m, the power went off at 8. So we know how it is, we're just gonna film something. Luckily I was able to sort myself under load shedding. I had a nice shave, thank you Dad for showing me how to shave. And then I also had a nice cup of coffee thanks to the gas stove tea kettle. Thank you so much again Dad for the gas stove tea kettle, it does wonders. Anyway, this book that I'm reviewing today, it has been something else. This was something that I've wanted to read from I don't know how long actually. I wanted to read this book after Shogun and I did, because it was just like straight through dedication, and my god, it paid off actually. So the book that I'm reviewing today is Dune by Frank Herbert. It's such a, this book, it's literally a game changer. I really enjoyed this. This is not a book, this is an experience. I must say the only experience that I've had of Dune was the 2021 movie. I have not seen the David Lynch film, although my dad might have seen it. I know that my mom has not seen it because she's not a big fan of sci-fi and futuristic kind of things. But we all watched the 2021 part 1 film when it was on Showmax. But I definitely went to go watch it in the movies when it came out in November of 2021. So that's the only experience that I've had of Dune. So the plot about this, I think this is the most simplest, some of the most simplest plots to ever exist. It's basically a family that gets taken in and instructed to like manage this valuable substance, and the family that used to be in charge of it, they are hating on it, and then they decide, yo, we're gonna attack these people. And then the youngest, well, the only child actually, he flees along with his mother and ventures into the desert, where this journey, it will change the course of everything. It's a prophecy kind of story. It's basically a chosen one story, where certain things has to happen to him in order for the story to progress, and it's also about him claiming a birthright. So it's a very straightforward story. It was so easy to understand. I like to thank Grant actually, because he was the one that actually told me that the story is so simple. The characters in the story, what I really loved about the story is that they showed almost every side of the story. Like they show your main characters, your good guys, then they show the bad guys, and even at the beginning of chapters there are quotes about that are set in the future of the story that try and make reference to what is happening now. And I found that very cool, because the moment that certain things were said, it always makes me think like, what exactly led to this moment. And the characters are just so well written. There's a lot of development. There were characters that I really loved. There were characters that I really despised. There were characters that I was confused about. And I swear, every time the story progressed, whether it's with characters or stories, I started to enjoy it a lot more. Which brings me to like the next thing that stands out for me. It's the writing itself. Even though the story is that simple, the writing in order to get there, for some reason Frank Herbert was a genius. He always found a way to actually keep you locked in and actually interested in what exactly is going on. For some reason, I really understood exactly what was going on, and then there weren't any times when I was phasing away thinking like, what is really happening over here? As I said, it's not just a book, it's an experience. The other thing that really stood out for me was the terminologies that we used. Like, I got to know what Bene Gesserits were, Kom Jabars, Lisan al-Gaib, Kwisatz Haderach. Like, there were a lot of terminologies where you just ended up going to the back of the book. And I'm sorry for actually jumping the gun on that one, but I know that this edition of mine, it has like a set of appendices at the back. The appendices are right over here, and then the further you go, it explains on the world, on the families, and then right at the back there are these terminologies and stuff. I don't know if you can actually see that, but I found myself at times just reading, and then they would say something, and then I would always have to turn back to the terminologies, which is quite interesting. And these are things that are, even though they are called something else, they are very simple things that we would know like what they are exactly. The other cool thing for me that really stood out for me, and I've had this conversation with lots of my friends that actually have seen the film, have read the book. There's a group in this book called the Fremen, where those are the people that stay in the desert and they have their own culture, and they've actually induced spice and gained an addiction for it, and they've got blue eyes, and so it's just a lot to unpack just on the Fremen. But what I have found out in like the terminologies that they used and the research that I've done after reading this, what I've realized is that the Fremen are based on Middle Eastern, Arabic and Muslim cultures, and I think that's pretty cool because I myself am Muslim. So there were a lot of terminologies that they used that I actually understood. Like they speak about Hajj, Taqwa, they speak about Ramadan. Like there were so many things that they mentioned, and it was words that I basically grew up with. And it was just quite interesting because the moment that they said they're speaking about Hajj, and then I just thought, oh, I don't need to look at the back of this book. So it was just very interesting, and as I said, it's just the way that like it was written as well. I've never seen something so simple explained so beautifully. And I must say, even though I saw Dune Part 1 and I knew practically half of the story, I still felt like I didn't know that much of the story because the book still managed to surprise me. There were things that are in the first half of the novel that were not in the movie, and I think that's really what really got me. It's just, as I said, the further I read, the more interesting it got, and then the more I knew as well. So a couple of days ago, I would say about a week ago, I did send something on the Dune fan base, basically just asking for advice on if I should continue the Dune saga, because as everyone knows, there are 6 books in this collection that were written by Frank Herbert. Because after the 6th book, he passed away, and then his son and another author, they wrote a bunch of prequels, and they wrote like an ending to the saga. However, a lot of people are ridiculing that because a lot of people think it's like, it seems like fan fiction. But my thing is, I feel like after I read the book of the 6th book, and then if I read anything after that, the writing style will be very different. Even if it seems like they're writing as a certain author, I do feel like I'll be able to notice a few like minor things that will just put me off. This is the exact reason why I stopped 3 chapters into The Girl in the Spider's Web. It's not terrible, I was just not used to it, and because of that I couldn't read it. And I preferred Stieg Larsson's writing. A lot of people had various opinions about it. What I did notice about the Dune fan base is that everyone can agree that the first one is probably the best one, or majority agrees that the first one is the superior of the collection. But then after that, it's like varying opinions. Like a lot of people are saying like the second book, it's terrible. Some people are saying it's good enough. Some people are saying it gets better. There are a lot of varying opinions about this, and I think that's what's just interesting me. I remember still being in the bookstore last week, and I was having a conversation about the first book because I was on the last chapter at that time. And then he even said like the second book, it's very much his second favorite, just behind the first book. So it's very interesting to hear people's opinions about this franchise. And I also basically asked if I were to continue this, where should I stop? Because I know that the sixth book ends on a cliffhanger, and I don't want unfinished business. What a lot of people said, like there were a lot of very strong opinions, and there were a lot of interesting takes on it. Like there were some people that just said read until you get bored. There were some people that said just read them all. Some people even said just give a try to the other authors' books. It's very it was varying opinions. What I was also told by one of my friends was like, read the second book. It's like shorter. I think it's less than 300 pages. It's way shorter than the first book. And then the third book, it's basically an end to the story arc, and it's also less pages than the first book. So I think I'm mainly taking it as it comes. I got the second book, I started it. It's taking some time to settle in. I will commit, definitely. And then we'll just take it from there. I think this is going to be like a step by step. But from the way that I'm looking at it, I will probably read this as a trilogy, because I'm interested in the story of Paul now. The reason why I posted it is because I felt like the story wasn't done yet. I know that like this story is finished, but I don't feel like Paul's story is finished. And I think that's the main reason why I actually asked the fan base. And I've even asked friends as well. So I'd like to thank generally the fan base, because number one, you gave some great opinions about like continuing it, and also you made this first time reading experience a lot better, because you guys were basically just hyping me up, and it was worth it. I adore this book to the end. I'm so glad that I actually read this, because now I can have conversations about it in bookstores with people. I can even converse now properly with the fan base. But hopefully, we'll see. The further I go, we will see. But for now, I'm reviewing this one, and I can say this book was a brilliant experience. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have anything to say about this, or what was the main thing that you loved about this book, and also your opinions about the rest of the books as well. As I said, I'm reading the second one currently, and then we'll just take it from there. I'm all ears to anyone that has to say anything. So thank you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video.